Hey guys, Stemming7 here, and here we are with Outlands, which is technically the last round of the regular season for Season 9, kind of. The reason why I say kind of is because it's the last round of the regular season in the sense that after this it goes to the Grand Finals, but you also got to remember that the Grand Finals and the regular season are intertwined in this season, so technically Mirabilis is the last round of the regular season and the Grand Finals. But you could also, I guess, consider it Outlands. But anyways, I'm going to continue off the topics that I went through in last video with a pretty good race in the background. This Outlands race is pretty solid. I think you will enjoy it. So where did I leave off in the last video? Talking about the future with Halo Infinite. So, where should I start? So, with Halo Infinite, there's a lot of questions. I think the first one, like one of the bigger ones, is when is it coming out? Because that's something that nobody really knows yet. You know, when is it coming out? Who knows? Like that's a question that we're not going to have answered for quite a bit, unfortunately. Which is sad because it'd be really nice to have a release date, but oh well. You know, do what you can. But yeah. I'm just my pure speculation, just to throw it out there. I'm guessing 2020. Obviously, would love a 2019 release, but I just highly doubt it. I just don't see there being a 2019 release for any reason really. Especially after the trailer that came out, the trailer seemed very very early in development. And it did not, like, there's no gameplay in it at all, so just expecting 2019 to me seems a little bit too hopeful, and I'm going to go with what I think is the realistic option of 2020. Honestly, it could even be 2021. I doubt that, but it could even happen, so we'll see. So with Halo Infinite, to talk about, like, just the Halo racing standpoint first, I think one of the big factors is the mongoose physics. Because after Halo 5, I have full confidence that the Halo Infinite Forge will be even better, that the functionality will be just as good as Halo 5, if not even better. And I'm not worried about those two factors for Halo Infinite. Maybe it's wrong of me to write those off, but I'm not worried about them. I have full confidence in 343 to pull those factors off. When it comes to the mongoose physics, though, that's where it's like, MCC shows that they can do it, Halo 4 shows that they can do it, but the fact that Halo 5 was a recent game and they were really messed up and it was something that was never fixed, does kind of worry me. So yeah, that's the one that I'm questioning. I'm gonna pay close attention to the trailers, whatever, there's mongoose in the trailer or whatever, and just see how it looks, and then when the game comes out, obviously that'll be, you know, once I'm done grinding the game, that'll be something that I definitely test, is how do the mongooses work and how do they feel. Because personally, I think that that's the biggest factor. I'll be really surprised if they screw up the functionality again, or if they somehow screw up Forge. Be very surprised at that. But when it comes to the mongoose physics, that is the most likely thing I could see them messing up, and that is what I hope that they nail in Halo Infinite. Because if they nail it, that is what the racing community really needs to be brought back. So hopefully they are on top of that. So now, talking in a more general sense, or I guess I'll go personal first. I might come back for racing in Infinite, maybe, like down the line, if the physics are good and everything's good about it, like maybe. Probably, like I said, I'm only gonna get busier from here on out, so I really doubt that I'd come back to actually running a league, but, you know, maybe come back to making tracks or racing if Infinite's really that good. So we'll see how that goes. But when it comes to the actual game of Halo Infinite, I'd say I'm overall hopeful for it. I think that the art direction from the trailer is a really good sign. Again, it's just graphical and it's just a style, but it looks good. It looks like what you'd want Halo in 2018 to look like, whereas the other 343 games didn't really have that visual down. Just based off the Infinite trailer, I'm like, this is like the best Halo visual I've ever seen. So they already nailed that aspect. I'm hoping that carries into other aspects of the game. I'm hoping that focus for a more classic art style, but like updated, I'm hoping that translates to the gameplay aspect of the game as well. Because if they nail the gameplay like they nail the art style, then Infinite could be like genuinely a great Halo game. It could be the best Halo game ever. It has that potential, right? Like, I think 343, a lot of people just give Bungie all the credit because of nostalgia, but I think 343 genuinely could make the best Halo game. Like, they have the right things here and there spread out across Halo 4, MCC, and 5. They just need to put all the good things together into one game, because that's been my issue with the 343 games. I'm like, this game has really good this, and this game has really good that, and this game has really good whatever. But there just hasn't been a 343 game yet where I'm like, wow, this game really nails it all, you know? Whereas with the previous Halo games, yeah, they had their issues. But in general, like, I would argue that the previous Halo games did nail quite a bit, you know? Like, there would be small issues that would be annoying with the previous Halo games. But in general, I think that Bungie's Halo games did well on most fronts. Whereas 343, it's usually like, with MCC, you know, Halo 2 Anniversary is really cool, but everything else is kind of just not the way it should be. With Halo 4, it's like, the campaign's pretty good, but, you know, the graphics don't look as appealing, the gameplay multiplayer-wise isn't as Halo as you'd expect, and just downsides there. With Halo 5, it's like, well, now the gameplay is starting to feel a bit better, but it doesn't really feel like Halo, you know what I mean? Like, Halo 5's a good multiplayer game, but it's not really, it doesn't feel like a Halo game, I guess is what I'm getting at. But in terms of just a multiplayer arena shooter, Halo 5's great. And they really nailed that. You know, Warzone's great. But then the campaign kind of sucks. The Forge is great. The theater is alright. The firefight is alright. Warzone is alright and stuff like that. But with Halo 5, it's more so just the campaign sucking. And the multiplayer, like, being very, very close. You know what I mean? Like I said, the gameplay-wise, it's good. It just doesn't feel like a Halo game, is what I'm getting at for the multiplayer. So, 343, just with all their games, I feel like gets certain things right that they don't get credit for. Like, they get certain things very right and very enjoyable. But those things are always overshadowed by the little things that it's like, come on, this is not that hard to get right. How do you guys get the gameplay to feel like really good and fluid again, but not feel like Halo? You know what I mean? Like, it's just the little things with 343. And I genuinely think that Infinite, if they take all the feedback and continue off of just like the way it looks visually and just apply that same listening to feedback for everything else, I genuinely think that Infinite could be just an amazing Halo game. And I think they could do some great things with it as well. Like, one thing that they need to do with Infinite is they need to, and this can be hard to do, they really need to please the core audience of Halo, because there is that Halo core audience that I think is going to buy Infinite, you know, regardless. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's going to be those Halo players that, no matter how the game is, they're going to buy it. And there's also the casual player base, and the casual player base is really what you need for the game to last. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about how many of the player base, like Halo 5 wise, how large the player base is for like hardcore competitive players, because that's what they really focused on with Halo 5 was the competitive aspect and really focusing on that community. But if you really think about how, I don't have any numbers, but how much of a percentage that player base is, I would imagine it's not that sizable compared to the casual player base. And what tells me that, part of that is the arena rankings. Does Halo 5 even have, I don't think they ever released population statistics, so it's hard to tell. But the arena rankings, like the people that you would consider the really hardcore people that are like ranked up top in, you know, Onyx level champ, it's such a small portion. And even if you include Diamond in that. And I know there are some people that are really into competitive that are just not good at it, you know, that are in like Platinum or Gold or whatever. So like you got to factor some of those in. But I imagine also that a lot of the people in Gold and Platinum are looking for a more casual, you know, they mostly grinded arena before social playlists were out. But what they really wanted to play were social playlists so that they could enjoy some, you know, some classic Halo without having to worry about getting too sweaty, I guess, is what I'm getting at. I definitely think that's a significant part of the player base. And the hard thing is 343 tried, with Warzone, to try to appeal to both player bases in Halo 5, and like it kind of worked, but not really. So it's hard. I honestly don't know like entirely how I'd solve that issue of like trying to appeal to both player bases. It's not going to be easy to do. And I'm not sure that, like, I'm imagining that they will probably get rid of the advanced movement system in Infinite. That's my guess. I'm not going to be extremely upset if they don't. I know there's a lot of people that probably will. I'm not going to be extremely upset if they don't, but I just, based off the feedback, based off the fact that they're listening to the visual feedback, I'm imagining that they're also going to listen to gameplay feedback, and they're going to try. To me, it seems like, again, it's just videos, all like speculation. To me, it seems like they're going to try to focus on bringing like a classic, what feels like a classic Halo experience, and go back to like old Halo movement, that old Halo feel. Keep the updated weapons sandbox and weapons and stuff like that, power-ups, new power-ups, things like that. But on the movement system, maybe dial it back to the way it used to be with no sprint and no thruster packs or whatever. We'll see what they do, but that's what I imagine that I think that they're going to do with this. Could be wrong, all speculation, but we'll see. And if they do that, it makes me wonder, because that is actually going to attract, I think, a lot of the casual community too, because a lot of the people that may not necessarily play Halo competitively, I do think even a large portion of that player base just preferred that feel of the game, and did not like Halo 5's feel. And maybe going back to the classic feel, maybe that'll actually bring some of those people back. I think I don't know if it's going to bring in many new people, but I definitely think that it would bring back a lot of old people, if that makes sense. So is that the right direction to go, though? I don't know. But I'm also thinking that 343 could try to, appeal to both audiences, and the Battle Royale craze is definitely legit now. And despite what 343 said in the past, I would not be surprised if Halo Infinite has a BR type mode. I think it's going to have one of two things. It's either going to have a Battle Royale type mode, or it's going to have like a massively expanded, more ambitious Warzone. Because the idea I kind of had in my head the other day when I was thinking about this was, what if Halo just went full Battlefield and had a mode that was Warzone but just expanded, and like a Battlefield map, like a Battlefield player count, 64 players or so. Maybe they couldn't do that. Maybe they would do like 24v24, something like that, 48 players total. But still, just like Halo on a much larger scale, because they experimented with that in Warzone. It was only 12v12, right? But still, 12v12 for Halo still felt like, wow, this is a lot bigger. Like the vehicles, the AI, everything about the map and the feel of it just felt a lot more grand. I feel like they might try to expand that in Infinite. If they don't go the Battle Royale route, for some reason, I just can't see them making both work. I can't see them doing the arena gameplay, the Warzone, and the Battle Royale. I just can't, on top of a campaign, like I just can't see them doing that. I feel like one of those things would have to get cut, but at the same time, the game will have been in development for a long time. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe Warzone's something that gets added down the road, or maybe the Battle Royale is something that gets added down the road. Maybe the Battle Royale or Warzone are things that never happen. Like, no idea. But yeah, I think that they're going to take one of those two routes. So that's just my opinion. I think they're either going to go the BR route, or they're going to try to expand on Warzone. Because in general, from what I've seen, like there are issues and flaws with Warzone. Like I think one of the biggest flaws is the fact that, once everybody started to get really maxed out Rex, that definitely diminished Warzone for me personally, and I think for quite a bit of the community as well. I think Warzone definitely got less fun once people started just getting all the high-level Rex, and there's always high-level Rex in play every game and stuff like that. It definitely made it a lot less fun, in my opinion. And I think a lot of other people, not everybody, but I think a lot of people would also agree with that. But at the same time, it's Halo, and if they're going to stick with the model that they had in Halo 5, which I imagine that they will, they're going to need some way to make extra money. And, are they going to go with pure cosmetics? Because I honestly think their solution to the microtransactions in Halo 5 was kind of genius. It's like, oh, they're going to combine the cosmetics with actual like gameplay influencing items, but they're going to make the gameplay influencing items only allowed in a mode that just has, them allowed. Like, if you want the arena experience without those microtransactions, aside from the cosmetics, you can have that. You can go play arena, not be affected by Norn Fangs, or if you want to have the experience with those powerful weapons, you can go play Warzone. And I think the only flaw with their solution there is the fact that, I think it would have been nicer if Warzone also had an option that was like, I know this name wouldn't make sense, but it's just like a classic Halo thing to do. Like a Warzone Classic mode or something like that, where it was just no microtransactions and it's just pure Warzone, pure upgrades. I think that would have been a better solution. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe everybody just plays that playlist, or maybe nobody plays that playlist and it just dies. I don't know. But overall, I think that Halo 5 solution was kind of smart for the time. They were like, all right, let's try to do the best of both worlds here. Let's try to appease both player bases, I guess, both types of players, and I think they did a good job with that. However, for Infinite, something tells me that the upgraded weapon portion of that is going to go, and that it's just going to be cosmetic based. And I would say that's a good thing, even though, like I said, even though I think Halo 5's solution was smart, I do think that's a good thing. I think that just purely cosmetics is the way to go, over just having weapon upgrades and cosmetics. And plus, Halo 5 cosmetics weren't terrible. I thought the Halo 5 cosmetics, overall, not bad. I do think they could do a lot more with them. But at the same time, it's like 343's. I mean, technically Halo 4 was, but not really. Like, Halo 5 was really 343's first attempt of like, all right, let's do some interesting Halo cosmetics. So I'm not surprised or disappointed that Halo 5's were so basic. But I do think it was a good start. And a way that I think that they can improve on that in Halo Infinite is if they did something like, I know recently with Halo 5 they just released those Magnum skins. Where you grind a certain amount of wins. And again, this whole tangent I'm going on is like based off the fact that I think they're going to go away from I think they're going just purely cosmetic for microtransactions in Infinite. So just keep that in mind. So I think something they could do is honestly do something kind of like COD system and kind of like Battlefield system, one or the other, because they're slightly different but pretty similar. So Battlefield system does not have microtransactions yet, but in the future it's going to. And essentially Battlefield system is pretty similar to Halo 5 with the rec points, where like you grind, you get a certain amount of coin, and you can use that coin to buy cosmetics. But once they add in the microtransactions, you'll also be able to, if you want to just avoid the grind, you see a cosmetic you really like, you'll be able to just pay money and get that currency and just get that cosmetic you want. In COD system, so in Battlefield system, it's essentially like you can do either way, right? Eventually, once they add the microtransactions in, I'm surprised they're not added in yet. But once they're added in, you'll be able to do it either way. It's like if you want to grind for those skins, you can grind for those skins. If you want to pay for those skins, you can pay for those skins. You have the option. I think they could go that route, or I think they could go COD's route where they have it split into two. Like in COD, you have the base set of camos that can only be earned. Like, there's no microtransactions for those base set of camos. They can only be earned through gameplay. But once you earn those, any other new crazy cosmetics that come out are, like, you have to pay for them. Like, there's no way to earn them. The crazy cosmetics that come out, you have to pay for them 100%. But the game does get a base set of cosmetics that you can play for. That would be kind of similar to Halo 5's thing that they did right at the end with the Magnum skins, right? Like, so you have the option of, like, you have these set of skins that you can grind for. You get this crazy gameplay achievement. You grind for these skins. You earn them. Or on top of that, I should say, you also get the option of these crazier cosmetics that you can pay money for. So you get kind of the best of both worlds. Like, the players that want to grind for some cool cosmetics can grind for some cool cosmetics, and the players that would like to pay for the crazy cosmetics also get those options. Personally, I think both of these systems could work. They are pretty similar, with a slight difference being that, like, Battlefield, you can grind for all the skins, whereas COD, you technically can't. Like, there are certain skins in COD that you can't grind for, you must pay for. But there are also the option of skins that you can grind for. So I think both of these systems could work. Personally, I would prefer the Battlefield system because, like I said, you can grind. It's a grind, but you can grind for any skin. So personally, I would prefer that system. But even then, Battlefield also has skins that you cannot earn through microtransactions that you have to pay for in game. So I don't know. But again, I would like to see 343 do something like that. Oh, real quick here, getting to, oh my god, this discussion is going to have to continue in the next video. Congrats to Slanch on the win, and I think Luke ends up finishing second and Detail third for the end of this race. So pretty solid race there at Outlands with the crazy infinite discussion in the background. Dang it. I feel like I was just getting into the meat and potatoes. I'm kind of ticked now that I have to stop, but I'm going to have to stop here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and the discussion. And for I haven't mentioned this yet, but for any of these, like, if you want to put something in the comments or whatever, like, I'd be welcome to discuss this stuff, because this is stuff that I'm interested in. This is like podcast material in these last videos, essentially. But anyways, signing off here. Be back for the next race. And probably continuing with the microtransaction type discussion.